this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. I've just changed my RO membrane. I did the filters a while back. That's the old one I've taken out. Now that was 50 gallons a day. The new one is 100 gallons a day, and that is a reasonable flow. Yeah, this thing was just producing drips, and it was taking 2 days to refill all my containers. You can't just replace a 50 with 100, you have to change this little bit as well. There's charts that tell you which one you need depending on the size of your RO membrane or the flow of your RO membrane. So that's gone up from 300 to 420 basically to go with that as recommended. So the whole thing's effectively been renewed now, apart from the casing. It's had a new pair of pre-filters. It's now got a new membrane in it and a new flow restrictor, and that's coming out at a fair old rate now. I'm going to run a bit through it again as recommended, just to sort of invigorate the membrane and you know, any dust or anything that's in there, which there flipping shouldn't be, but just wash it out sort of thing. I'll just clear a 5 litre watering can through it, and then we'll test it. And say the previous one was always giving me a TDS reading of 9 or 10, so we'll see what the new one does. Quite honestly, if it's 20, I don't care. That's still more than low enough for me. What I'm after is speeding up the process, because certainly as we head into the summer season, I get through my water at a fair old rate. I mean, at the moment the RO unit gets used about every 3 weeks. But it takes 2 days, 1 day to fill all my containers and 1 day to fill the Vanda bucket. So hopefully this should double the speed of producing the water, and we'll see how we go. But yeah, I think it was worth the extra small amount of money to double the flow rate through this thing without changing anything else basically. So quite good value for money hopefully. And looking at the membrane on this, it's not that dirty. So even after all that time, I don't even think it needed replacing, apart from the fact that I wanted to increase the flow rate. So that can probably, given, you know, this doesn't get daily use, and all the recommended, you know, change your filters, change your membrane, all stuff like that, are based on like a daily use of a certain amount. Well, I certainly don't get anywhere near that, so I think the new set of 3 in there is going to last a few years, to say the least. Oh well, that's working a bit better. Right, let's see what we got then. I've just captured some of the output from the RO unit. Let's see what we got. Well, given that's going through a new membrane, I haven't actually done a full runoff yet. It used to come out at 9 or 10, it seems to be settling at 18 at the moment. I'm still happy with that. Come on, make your mind up. I said anything less than 20 I'll be happy with. Yeah, that's plenty good enough for RO water. I suspect that reading will improve as the membrane becomes accustomed. I don't know what those membranes are made of, but it must be some sort of microfiber or something along those lines. And obviously it's got to get soaked, you know, and actually start performing properly. It does recommend running quite a bit of water through there initially, but I'd be happy to use that water as it is now, so I think I can start collecting some water now. I've done enough runoff, that's good enough. And when I finish filling up all my bottles, I'll test it again to see if it's improved, because obviously I'll have run through probably about 20 gallons. Okay, I'm not going to wait till the RO unit's finished, because it'll be dark by then, so I thought I'd just take a little bit more water and have another quick check. And it's gone down to 13, so we've now got a TDS reading of 13. I'm happy with that. It might drop some more, but that's plenty good enough. Only 3 points different to last time. That's some of my original RO water. The pH meter's been sat in that a while, because it goes up and down. This is not a quality instrument. If my life depended on this, I'd run. Anyway, that has always come out at 7. I didn't expect any different. Let's see what the new stuff's like then. That's reading very high at the moment. That's reading 7.9. 7.8. So my pH is now considerably higher on the water that's running off. Or is it? Or is it just the flipping meter? Yeah, it's gone from 7.8 to 7.5 in 10 seconds. It's these flipping things are just not much good. As I said, I wouldn't like to rely on this if my life depended on it. Didn't know it started at 7.8. Why? It's now down to 7.2. 7.1. Why is the meter changing? The water isn't changing. Nothing is changing. Why can't the meter give a stable reading? Anyway, it's close enough. If my pH after that membrane sort of acclimatizes itself and produces a constant output, I'll test it again. But as far as I'm concerned, yeah, and see now it's down to 7. What are you doing? That's about as reliable as... I was watching one of the old school comedians on YouTube the other night, when you could say what you like and not get into trouble. And nowadays that would have been stopped from going out on TV, but in those days it was good fun. And he was just complaining about the unions and stuff, you know, obviously UK based stuff like that. And he said, oh, I had to wait for half an hour for a flipping train. Unions are on a go slow again, but they've had to pack it in because nobody noticed the difference. Not relying on that meter at the moment. It just keeps going down. Anyway, it's around the 7 mark. That's good enough for me. Yeah, so unit up and running and water safe to use and all that stuff. Good.